Hey everybody, I'm Philip.
And I'm Justin.
And together, we are Pajamas. And we are minutes removed from episode 9 in real time, where a lot of stuff happened. We found a piece of the TARDIS in the crack. Rory is gone. Amy has forgotten. The Doctor remembers. So,
Yes.
I think this is what's going to be the thing that takes us into the home stretch is the search for Rory. Star Trek episode 3, the search for Rory.
It is odd, though. Sometimes she remembers, sometimes she doesn't. I wonder how it is that she can remember, for example, the soldiers, but yet she...
No, he said it was because this is her timeline. She's like, I remember this and this and this and this and this. He's like, no, this is from your lifetime. This is from your experience. You're going to forget this. So yeah, we find out what the next step is. I'm thinking they're gonna try and find Rory or something, or I don't know how they're gonna resolve this, but I just don't think that they're gonna leave this the way it is. I don't think Rory is gone forever. I hope not. I like him. So you ready to find out?
Yes.
Alrighty. Without further ado, let's get into it.
So this is one of the last paintings Van Gogh
Hey.
ever painted.
Phenomenal actor.
Thanks for bringing me.
You're welcome.
You're being so nice to me. Why are you being so nice to me?
I'm always nice to you.
Places you're taking me, Arcadia, the Trojan Gardens, now this.
Is it a face? Yeah, nice bow tie. Bow ties are cool.
This is life and death. We need to talk to Vincent van Gogh.
Oh, wow.
Another historical episode.
Yeah, it's not what wow. All right. I can't remember that actor's name. Bill something, I think. Fantastic actor.
Good painter though, eh?
Be a bad deal if the painting were any good. I can't hang that up on my walls. It'll scare the customers half to death. Bad enough having you in here.
Exactly who are you?
I'm new in town.
Well, in that case, that accent of yours, you from Holland like me?
Yes. Which means yes. Start again. Hello, I'm the Doctor. Dark night. Very starry.
It's not much. I live on my own.
You know, you should be careful with these. They're precious.
It's color. Color that holds the key. I can hear the colors.
It's the Doctor, look. No one else is here. So, Vincent. What did he look like?
I'll show you.
Oh, no!
What?
Don't worry, I'll be back before you can say, where's he got to now? Not that fast! But pretty fast. See you around. No, definitely not. This is the problem with the Impressionists. Not accurate enough. This would never happen with Gainsborough or one of those proper painters.
Ooh.
Sorry, Vincent. I hope we meet again soon so I can take you home.
I thought I'd brighten things up to thank you for saving me last night. To perhaps paint them or something? Might be a thought.
There is, you know, surprisingly always hope.
Then your experience is incomplete. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? I hear the song of your sadness. You've lost someone, I think.
I'm not sad.
Then why are you crying?
Tell me if you see any monsters.
Yes. Well, I may be mad. I'm not stupid.
Quite. And I remember watching Michelangelo painting the Sistine Chapel. I kept saying to him, look, if you're scared of heights, you shouldn't have taken the job, mate. Pablo, it's one eye either side of the face. Is this how time normally passes? Don't follow me under any circumstances.
I won't.
Will you follow him?
Of course.
I love you.
Duck! Left! Right, sorry. You're right, my left.
Okay, here's the plan. Amy, Rory. I also don't belong on this planet. I also am alone. Can't see, it's blind. Yes, and that, of course, explains why it has such perfect hearing. I'm having trouble making it out, but I think he's saying, I'm afraid. I'm afraid. Shh. You know, sometimes winning is no fun at all.
Hold my hand, Doctor. Try to see what I see. And then shining, burning, bursting through the stars. Can you see how they roar their light? Complex magic of nature blazes before our eyes. And if you tire of this doctor of yours, return, and we will have children by the dozen. Doctor, my friend.
You know, we've had quite a few chats about the possibility there might be more to life than normal people imagine. Oh.
Yes.
Well, brace yourself, Vinny.
How come I'm the crazy one?
Ignore that. I've got something more important to show you.
Say?
Where do you think Van Gogh rates in the history of art?
He transformed the pain of his tormented life. No one had ever done it before. Perhaps no one ever will again. Not only the world's greatest artist, but also one of the greatest men who ever lived.
And you are sure marriage is out the question?
I'm not really the marrying kind.
Oh, the long life of Vincent van Gogh. There'll be hundreds of new paintings.
I'm not sure there will.
We didn't make a difference at all.
I wouldn't say that. The bad things don't necessarily spoil the good things or make them unimportant.
Aww.
If we had got married, our kids would have had very, very red hair.
The ultimate ginger.
Tragic but sweet.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. I got a little emotional when Van Gogh was... I'm going to say Van Gogh, I'm sorry. I know. It's my American brain. I would try and say it correctly, but I would probably change it every time and it would sound... I know it's wrong. But yeah, when he was in his own... Seeing his own exhibit and hearing Bill Nighy, remembered his name finally, talk about him. Just like, I was getting a little teary-eyed. I was like, dang.
He's a man that reminds me very much of you. The misunderstood artist.
Okay.
Someone who makes great things, but too many people don't seem to have the ability to appreciate it.
That is very high praise. I appreciate that. I don't think I'm nearly in the stratosphere or in the same galaxy as a Van Gogh. But I do appreciate the sentiment.
Someone tormented by tragedy, but can still see the richness that life can offer.
Yeah, that I will. I will agree with that one. Yeah. I've said before, if it wasn't for my appreciation of life and being alive, I would have taken my own life many years ago. Especially after the second car accident that has left me in the state that I'm in now, 10 years later.
And even as a bonus, in both of your youths, you had red hair.
Ah, yes, when I was young. Yes. I was very, very, very little, though. So we didn't. Well, it was brought up, but we didn't. Instead of trying to. So maybe Rory is gone. Because I assumed that we would be on the lookout for Rory somehow. I don't know how. I don't know. I would think maybe wishful thinking. But instead, the doctor's taking it to Arcadia, to all these cool places. That's kind of like a cheer you up thing, which he's realizing. It's like, why are you being so nice?
Yes, he may be doing it for himself much more than for her because,
Bingo.
well, if she doesn't even remember, what is there to be unhappy about?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like he's trying to make up for what happened. So yeah, this was a very, very moving, very sweet episode. It also brings up the notion of destiny versus fate.
Yes.
Because, Amy thought that showing him how important he would end up being would fix him. And that's not how depression works.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
In which, yes, it isn't something that magically changes anything. Depression is a much more complex thing than simply showing, here's the future, here are the great things. After all, he himself also saw the joys of the world, but at the same time, so what? There's also this other side that's tormenting him.
Yeah. So I did kind of like that they brought him happiness and pure joy.
While at the same time being realistic that his life biography is still going to be the same.
And I wrote that in my notes. I wondered that. I was like, well, is this going to change things now? Because it's not going to cure him, but will it postpone things a little while longer? Instead of hundreds of more paintings, do we have maybe 2 or 3 more? Do we have a painting of the TARDIS? I was waiting for them to show like a painting of the TARDIS or the Doctor and Amy or something at the end when she saw the sunflowers and all that. I thought they handled it really well because, Van Gogh was a tormented soul, very much so, in an era that really didn't understand that kind of mental faculty and what it could do to be there to experience all this and show him himself, take him back. Didn't fix anything because it's not going to.
There's no such thing as simply fixing it.
So I think it did a cool job of, as I said, bringing him joy, but also respecting his legacy.
That's an excellent way of putting it.
So I think the show did a good job in this one of doing that. Interesting that we had this creature that only he could see.
Yes.
Kind of reminded me of what they did in the plot of Bird Box, where the crazy people could see the creatures and not be driven mad. But then the sane people would go crazy and kill themselves. Spoilers for Bird Box. It's been out a while. So Van Gogh was in such a different
state of mind.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to put it in a more polite way. He had a different mental state, a different way of viewing the world, which was exhibited at the end when they were laying in the grass together, and he was showing how he viewed the sky. It was starry night, and it was beautiful. It was really cool. Just that's how he saw the world. You can say what you want about like interpretive painting, but I think to like see the world through that lens and then put it onto some kind of medium, in this case, the canvas, is really cool. Like I've always thought Starry Night for me personally, I know it's commercialized and marketed to death, but it's such a beautiful piece because it's his interpretation of the night sky.
Yes, which is also why it is so commercialized, because it is indeed, without a doubt, a great painting.
Yeah, it is.
Of course, it deserves all of the praise that it gets.
Mm-hmm. So whereas in that movie, they could see the creatures, Van Gogh had a different mental state than everyone else around him, so he's the only one that could see this creature, this big giant bird thing.
Instead of it debilitating his life, it's quite the contrary. It's a very advantageous asset. He's able to help the Doctor, and he's able to defeat the creature.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's kind of sad that the creature was just lost and scared, abandoned from its pack because it was blind. Like the creature itself was seen as less than, just like Van Gogh was. Like there's similarities there.
Yes.
It was alone. It was scared.
Mm-hmm.
It was seen as, Van Gogh was seen as volatile and, unpredictable because he was. This creature was seen as less than, and abandoned. There are some similarities there. Obviously, I would assume on purpose, but I think it worked. And as you said, yeah, Van Gogh could help them see it because he could see it and defeat it, and which was sad. I mean, I was hoping there'd be a way that the Doctor could help it. I don't know how, but
I did notice that they seem to make a reference to mythology. Remember the statue of Perseus holding Medusa's head?
Mm-hmm.
Well, similarly, how the Doctor is trying to see this thing is like how Perseus had to defeat Medusa. He cannot look at her because then he would turn to stone.
Right.
So he could only see her reflection in the shield.
Yep.
Similarly, the Doctor, he cannot visibly, he's physically unable to see it, but the mirror, which in many cultures is a symbol of truth, it doesn't hide anything. It portrays everything that's in front of it.
Right.
And it's with that he's able to then navigate his way through this labyrinth and be able to actually see what he's trying to get away from.
Yeah, it's very cool you picked up on that. I saw the statues all, but I didn't put those two together. So that's really cool. So that had to have been on purpose then, them going by that for that reason. And the Doctor poses in front of it really quick and stuff. Yeah. So another little thing that the show added in there that correlated to what happened in the episode.
And also the similarity, Medusa and this creature, they're alone. They cannot, they don't have any company for different reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no one can see the one, and Medusa will kill everything.
Yes. Anytime that anyone would want to show compassion to her, well, they've turned into a statue before they could even say the first word.
Yeah.
Both living tragic, lonely lives. All over something that actually wasn't necessarily their fault.
Well, I could say the same thing for Van Gogh.
Indeed. Which is why it was very easy for him to sympathize with it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I do wonder if them being there, it brought him some joy, but the emptiness of them being gone had to have been so, for that other side of himself, that darkness that just latches onto and won't let go. And will give you a little, respite for a little while, but then comes back. And I think I fear when it came back, it was even stronger because, you're all alone again and they don't want to be around you and they left you. And
yes, and as he stated, as they were walking down the path, that sometimes it does take hold of him and it can last for weeks or months, but in others, it will actually last less than a day.
Yeah.
It's very unpredictable. That's what makes it so dangerous.
Yes. Because not only is it like that, but it's varying degrees of intensity and how it manifests itself can vary from person to person. Yeah, it just speaks to how tragic the life of Van Gogh really was. Like a brilliant man, but you just wonder if they had brought him to the present, their present, but with proper doctors and proper medication and proper care, he could have been fine potentially.
I would wonder though if that would have any effect on his work.
It would alter how he saw the world. So yeah, it's a trade-off.
Yes.
Artistic genius and expression versus don't cut your ear off and don't kill yourself.
Yes. So it would depend upon somebody is going to lose something regardless of what happens.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Interesting to think about though. Interesting what if brought up by the episode.
Shall we go to the notes?
Sure.
Philip's notes.
So we open up and the Doctor has taken Amy to a Van Gogh exhibit. It's all these beautiful paintings and find out that he's taking her to Arcadia, the Trojan Gardens. I was like, dang, those places sound cool. And that's when I wrote, maybe the Doctor isn't trying to fix it. He's just trying to, as we talked about, make it better for her, but also, as you brought up, himself as well. Then we see the picture of the painting of the church, and there's a creature inside. There's evil, and the Doctor knows evil when he sees it. And that's evil. So away we go. Away we go. It's the time of Sir Vincent.
And like the theme of this episode, looks can be deceiving. It's not evil, it's only scared.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
And this man, he isn't simply a madman. He's an unappreciated artistic genius.
Yeah. Now think about that. Like, your entire existence, you've been told that you are worthless, that you're nothing, that you are just a madman, like you said, that a drunk, belligerent, this abusive personality.
All of that weighing down on you. And then to take that, instead of wallowing in misery, turn that into a medium of expression.
And on top of that, this has been your entire life with this. For my own headspace, I see it as kind of like a curse that just can't be, other than like the curse of the physical curse I have on me of the never-ending pain and I won't heal. Then there's that mental curse as well. Mine's not like that. My mental stuff doesn't operate like that. But just think of like you've been kind of surrounded by this misery and sadness and loneliness. I mean, no one likes you and you're mean, but you can't help it because just. But then, within a couple of days, you see that your entire life had purpose and was wonderful and reached so many people. And like, just imagine, just as you can see, it was spinning around, and he's like, it was emotional. I'm getting emotional watching it because I was sitting there, and that's what I was doing. I was putting myself into his shoes. I was like imagining living the life that he did, where it was all negative, and then you have the ultimate positivity shown to you. Not only does your life matter, did your life matter, does your work matter, you were also regarded as one of the greatest artists of all time. So just imagine, like, you suffer from depression and self-harm. You are caught in the throes of bad thoughts and bad ideas and all this stuff that you can't help because the treatment for you isn't there yet. Then from the lowest of lows, you the highest of highs, and just. I thought the actor did a fantastic job. Yeah, Tony Curran did a great job. Curran, sorry if I said it wrong. Did a fantastic job as Van Gogh. And that scene, I thought, really captured how the spectrum of like sadness and happiness can both lead you to tears. Because he felt so overwhelmed and appreciated. Something he couldn't even sell his paintings for a drink. And here he was seeing his work. Just, man. Went off on a tangent. But they're at the little cafe.
The quintessential French thing to do. Can you think of anything more French than to be at a sidewalk cafe?
There's little things about Matt Smith that I've noticed in previous episodes that I've talked to you about. I think I mentioned them in the mid-season review. He has this little, like, he's quirky, which we talked about. He has this little, like, expressions he does. Like, I noticed one when I was working on, when I was watching the episode to, like, get their reactions lined up for episode. It's whenever Rory goes into the TARDIS for the first time after the doctor tells him that he kissed Amy and all that stuff, and then the doctor's like, "Do you know what this is?" And Rory's like, "It's like an alternate dimension thing." He's like, "It's an alternate dimension. I usually like that it's bigger inside." And then he delivers a line. And he just goes at the end of it.
And someone says it's bigger on the inside. I always look forward to that.
So, this date.
It was just, so Matt Smith adds these little touches with expressions and reactions that I liked. And there was one in here that I actually noticed in real time. You go back and watch it. When they're like, "Who are you?" And he says, he's like, I'm new in town.
Exactly who are you?
Oh, I'm new in town.
I think it's fucking cool. I really like how Matt Smith approaches the doctor, because it's kind of like, he's so like, yeah, about it, but it comes off so endearing at the same time. It's not abrasive or in your face like the 10th Doctor. It's just more charming. And I like it. So I just wanted to call that out because I noticed it this time in real time. I love the part, I know you probably liked it too, where Vincent says, "That accent, are you from Holland?" "No." "Yes." That's like, yes, you are. Well played. And then they meet him, they go to his place. He's like, "Careful, that one's wet." And I'm just like, imagine seeing one of Van Gogh's paintings fresh, just hanging there. And then you walk inside his house, and it's just like 360 degrees of wow.
Yes.
Just like, wow.
I would definitely have liked to have been able to sit with him and ask him about more details about these paintings. What were you thinking? What inspired you to have intimate knowledge of this painting directly from the artist himself?
Yeah. To that point, I wrote, imagine watching Van Gogh work in real time. Of course, he painted over his one painting. They're like, no! And it's like, no! Oh, it's gone, but you drew the creature, okay. And then a really good line between the doctor and Van Gogh. The doctor says, there is always hope. And Vincent says, your experience is incomplete. I was like, ooh. Ooh.
I'm afraid that is true.
Ooh. It's a well-written line. So would you then say that my experience is incomplete since I try and see the hope in things? But also come to the despair?
Well, sometimes there are situations in which there is hope, but there are also other times when there isn't.
Right.
And for him to say that there's always hope, always? Not always.
I see what you're
Sometimes.
saying. Right.
But not always.
Yes, much like my condition, there's just no hope. So you learn to accept, things for what they are, and then make the best of whatever hand you've been given.
Yes.
So yeah, I get what you mean. And then as they're walking towards the church, Van Gogh is asking Amy why she's sad. She's like, I'm not sad. He says, I can hear the song of your sadness. The doctor's just like,
someone emotionally deep as he is can definitely tell if she is suffering, even if she doesn't realize it on the inside.
Yeah. So somewhere in there, she remembers. But surface level, she doesn't. I do feel like, because we only have 3 more to go, 11, 12, 13. This has to be like, they couldn't have pulled that piece out of the TARDIS, or pull that piece of the TARDIS out of the crack. Obviously, it's going to go somewhere, obviously. I thought we were going to start the end journey to the finish line here. We didn't. I'm glad we didn't. This was a fantastic episode. But it's just when. Are we going to have a 3-parter? Are we going to have a 2-parter? When does the end season story go? Because I just don't want it to feel so out of nowhere and rushed. I want it to feel, as I've said earlier in the season, organic. And I've also wondered how we're going to stick this landing with this whole crack in the universe thing. So we didn't ignore it. It was brought up. But at the same time, again, like I said in the previous episode, where do we go from here now? Because I don't think we can keep having like the doctor take Amy to cool places to start to try and make her happy, to make himself also feel better about what happened. So I'm wondering, when is the turn to be made? I hope it's a smooth turn into the finish line. Be it a 3-parter or a 2-parter or whatever. Earlier in the episode, we had Amy outside with all the sunflowers. But I also like in the funeral procession, there were sunflowers on top of the casket of the woman that died. At first, I thought I was like, that's the inspiration. He feels guilty, even though he shouldn't. But he feels guilty about what happened. Because even the woman was like, it's your fault. Your madness brought it here and all that stuff. Which just shows you how misunderstood mental illness was back in the day.
And I also thought that it was good when he mentioned that the sunflowers, how they're between living and dying.
Yes.
To have them, the day is beginning with Amy sitting in the garden, and then also at a funeral procession in death. The beginning of something, the end of something.
Yeah.
And how life and death are connected.
Mm-hmm. And then the line, I may be mad, I'm not stupid. It's like,
that is very true.
Yeah.
Simply because someone is mad doesn't necessarily mean that they're stupid.
They may be smarter in their own way than someone who's normal.
Yes.
Obviously Van Gogh saw the world in a very unique and complex way.
Yes, and apparently he was even able to see what Amy was going through subconsciously, even though she didn't realize it, in a conscious way.
Right.
Long before there was even such a thing as therapeutic psychology.
Yeah. And then they're at the church. Van Gogh is painting. The doctor is just really just crawling in his skin. He says, is this how time passes? Really slowly, in the right order. I was like, yeah. Yes. He's being forced to wait.
Yes, as a Time Lord, he of all people, well, per se, should know that.
And then the doctor is talking to him. He's like, Amy, Rory. Who? Ooh. I like that. I like that. The idea is still there. So be curious to see how they take this little ember that's burning inside of Amy and try and bring it to a full flame as we go towards the end of the season.
Mourning isn't something that comes and goes. It's a process.
Well, how do you mourn something that you don't remember on the conscious level? But subconsciously you do. So it's like she's having like the most interesting mourning experience.
Yes.
Because she's like mourning without knowing she's mourning.
Yes.
It's like, whoa. Then we find out that the creature was blind, got left behind. As we said, it was, frightened. It was lashing out. Like anything. Like humans do. And then I love the scene as we talked about. They're laying in the grass. We see how Van Gogh sees the sky. Starry night. Just freaking awesome. Then they take Van Gogh in the TARDIS. And I was just like...
Yes, there's the classic. Yes, it's bigger on the inside than the outside.
Not just that, just... what's this going to do? Because... this could... it didn't. But it could. At the time, I was like, this could change things. They take him, they show him his own work in the future. And I wrote, won't that mess with his death or his future worth? And then I wrote, or not. Or not. It didn't.
It may sound mean, but fortunately, it didn't.
Yeah. Then once again, Van Gogh tries to get Amy to want to marry him. She's like, I'm not really the marrying kind. So she's not only forgotten Rory, she forgot like the bond, the choice she made. Like, of course, she forgot all of it, but then it just really hammers home the context of like the weight of what she forgot. Not just a person, but what he meant. Because she wasn't the marrying kind, which you kind of picked up on in the beginning of the season. But by the time they're on the TARDIS together, especially after the Dream Lord, she made her choice. So it's like, ooh. And that is all for my notes. Everything else are for my patrons over on Patreon. This was a tragically beautiful episode.
Yes.
Because I wasn't like weeping, but I had tears in my eyes during that scene. So this may be the first time I've gotten emotional on camera from Doctor Who. I'm trying to remember how I was like, how sad I was about Donna. I think I was more mad about Donna. I'm still mad about Donna. Justice for Donna. This is just like a tiny little, like, cool isn't even the right word. But it was just so cool to see them tackle Van Gogh the way they did it. How we talked about in the past, where the best historical ones take the actual thing and then frame it in an issue like Madame de Pompadour. And then entire, like, how they framed it around her. They did the same thing here. They took Van Gogh, his real life, and framed it around this really neat idea of this creature that only he could see. And then it went from there. So kudos to the writer of this episode and how they executed it. And, yeah, one of the few episodes I don't have a bad thing to say about. It was really, really good. They dealt with the subject matter, I think, very respectfully.
Yes.
And I appreciate that. And dealt with the subject matter of mental illness very respectfully. So I think this has to be a fan favorite. This has to be a fan favorite. It has to be. It just has to be. If it's not, you're wrong. It is now. I'm saying it is. I'm the new Lord and judge of what is good and bad in Doctor Who.
And you haven't even seen all of the episodes.
That's right. I'll have to. Lay the gavel down. Let the hate flow. Let the hate flow. You're all mad at me now. It was a joke. If you didn't know, some of you don't know, so I'm telling you now. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to add about this fantastic episode?
No.
Well, it's going to wrap this one up, as always. I don't have a fancy outro, so I'll simply say thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.
Goodbye.